And we are live, everybody. How is it going? Welcome to another edition of the Car Guy and SixFan show. And I did start just a minute early. Just want to let you guys know the other half of the equation, Jason Carr of Old Car Auto Guy, is wrapping up his Valentine's Day plans with his missus right now. Dinner ran a little late. And so he will be jumping on at any time, but that's only fair because if you watched last week's episode on his channel, I was struggling on my end to get connected, so he had to go solo by himself last week. So I guess this is payback, right? But anyway, if this is your first time, again, this is a joint collaboration between my channel, Straight SixFan. You can buy one of these t-shirts after this goes down on the channel. There will be a link in the description below to the Spreadshirt store, and you can buy one of these t-shirts. But as I was saying, this is a joint venture with Jason Carr of Old Car Auto Guy. So it looks like he is just getting on right now, but has some other things to wrap up. So I will finish off my introduction. And again, this is my channel, Straight SixFan. I'm Grant Tommy. And on my channel, I like to focus on what I call offbeat hot rodding, which is focusing on budget-minded, relatable, creative builds, car builds, something that I can encourage everybody. If I can do it, so can you. But with that, I think Jason's still getting some things up on his end. Guys, we just wanted to give a few shout-outs. Of course, we had a couple people waiting even before I hit the button, so hat tip to Kathy Durbin, Craig Durbin, Eford Garage, SNR Motoring, Junk from work, and that we got a pretty good crowd. So, Jason, are you ready? He is still muted on his end, I think.
Oh, I'm here now.
Actually, nope, that's my problem. My bad. 1 second. Okay, let's try that again.
I'm here now. Can you hear me?
Nope.
All right, guys, you tell me. Can you hear Jason on your end? I cannot, and that's why.
Craig says he can hear me, so I must be there.
Going early. Okay, you guys can hear Jason, so that's good. So this is great. Off to a rip-roaring start on my end. I don't know why I can't hear Jason. Okay, well, what I'm going to do at the moment is let Jason take over for a second while I try to figure out what's going on my end. So, Jason, have at it.
Yeah, thanks, Grant. I just was finishing up some plans with a fundraising dinner, which was kind of a slash Valentine's Day dinner with my wife. And anyways, we're running a little bit late. There's my wife. We're running a little bit late, but we are here now, and I want to thank you guys for jumping in. Craig, I see you there. I appreciate being able to join those streams and get in touch with some of you guys. And thanks everybody for joining. So my name is Jason. My YouTube channel name is Old Car Auto Guy, if you did not know that already. And my channel focuses on my small town Canadian used car dealership, some of the projects that we work on in that dealership, and once in a while the occasional shenanigans. So I really appreciate you guys jumping in here on this live stream. I've been sending invites out all week, and I know that we are expecting a few people to stop in here and join us. And so hopefully they can make it. And I see that we've got some people jumping in there. Craig Durbin says, hello, Mrs. Carr. He must have saw you pop your face in there a little bit. And we've got Craig and Kathy Durbin, Impacts, Garage, and Gaming. Johnson T 963, Junk from Work, is here. E for Garage, Impact. Okay, I already said that. Sorry. We got Low lid X50 is in the house, as well as S&R Motoring. Guys, thanks so much for jumping in there. I really appreciate that. And Grant, how you making out? Can you hear me now?
Okay, I am back, and this is how I know I'm getting older, because technology becomes more of a struggle. So I can hear you now, finally.
Yeah, so you can hear me now. Woo!
Yeah, so as we burn through the first almost 5 minutes of the show, again, for anyone who's new joining the show, we do have kind of a standardized format we like to roll out, or kind of a way we like to go through the show. And we like to start talking a little car talk. So with that, the topic that I think piqued my interest this week was the new 2019 Ford Ranger. For those who don't know, I'm a big Ford guy on this end, but with obviously there's this continued story from Ford said they were going to stop making sedans or aside from the Mustang. Basically, they're not going to make any cars. It's all trucks and SUVs. So I think it's proper timing with they reintroduced the Ranger to the market, but I guess they have already they're maxed out on their sales and orders already. I think the design's pretty. It's nothing super unique, but I don't think it's too universal. But they also already apparently have a recall. So the 2019 Ford Ranger's off to, I think, a pretty hot start. Jason, what's your take on the new Ford Ranger?
Well, for starters, I'm so thankful being in the car dealer, in the used car business. Of course, I probably won't see those trucks on my lot probably for another 5 years, just basically due to price and in the price range that we're in with these trucks. But I really think it's a great idea for Ford to jump back into this mid-size pickup market, and Chevrolet come back with theirs, and even Honda jumped in on that. So we're really missing out of the big three. We're missing Dodge's mid-size pickup. However, with the advent of the new Jeep Gladiator, that's going to fulfill that market. With the Ford Ranger itself, it's the only truck to date that has stood back and looked at what the truck market is doing and said, yes, we can do this. We can do it again, and we can keep the Ford Ranger name and bring back some of those faithful followers. So I believe Ford is going to hit this one out of the ballpark. And I think that it's going to put a big dent into the GM, the Toyota, and the Jeep sales.
Well, you're also right. I kind of forgot that Jeep Gladiator is going to be fun to talk about here probably in the next coming months. But the other thing that Ford is ramping up towards is the new Ford Bronco, and I'm going to be really excited to see what that does to sales, like to Jeep and things like that. I'm just kind of curious. I think that's gonna be a hot market for them as well. But Jason, I know as you did a good job touching all of the automakers, there was another topic I think you had you wanted to throw out there that again touches all of the automakers.
Yeah, so as we see a lot of these new 2019 and 2020 trucks starting to hit the markets with your new Ram 2500s and your GMC Sierras with these really fancy looking tailgates, I wanted to bring up and have a little bit of discussion around the tailgates on these things. Now, GMC's got that new dual flip down tailgate. Ford has come out, or sorry, Dodge has come out with their 60/40 split barn door style tailgate. And of course, the Honda Ridgeline has always had the dual opening tailgate where it flops down like a standard tailgate as well as it swings off to the left like a hatchback door almost. So I just wanted to kind of open up the discussion on that to see what people's thoughts are on some of these inventions or some of these new things. I mean, obviously pickup trucks have been around forever, and the tailgate virtually has never changed. And now we're starting to see a little bit of that into the mix. So, what do you think of the new Dodge 60/40 split tailgate, Grant?
Well, I think the new resurgence of this rethinking the tailgate kind of makes me laugh just because Ford got blasted pretty hard when they put that little tilt up like stand in the step in it. Um, like everybody tried to, are we becoming a softer society and all that stuff? And then it just seems like you said, it just blew up, and there's so many manufacturers now that are rethinking the tailgate, which I don't know. I feel like just a couple more years will go by and we'll just be back to the normal tailgate. Like I don't know if the market's really gonna be like, oh my gosh, why haven't we been doing this sooner and having all these. I think Dodge did a better job, or Ram, I guess you should say Ram trucks. Uh, I think they were smart when they started doing the storage bins in the bedsides. That seemed like, why weren't we doing that before? Like, why did it take us so long to come up with that idea?
Well, and Terry makes a good point too. He says trucks have been tried and true. Why bother changing the tailgate except to try and make more money? Because if you take a look at their websites, these options, of course, with the GMC and their dual flip down, you can only get that on the GMC and only on the higher end trucks. And it's about $1,000 option, I think, on the GMCs. And if you go to the Rams, they're, I think, as of right now, for the first year, they're only introducing that into a couple. I think the Ram Rebel and one other model of trucks. And they're going to cost more money if you want those fandangled options. I'm with Terry, and I say the tailgate has been tried and true. Yes, I like the soft opening. Yes, I like the fact that they've made them out of aluminum, a little bit lighter, but don't change what's not broken.
Yeah, definitely don't fix it. That's for sure. Well, again, if you're new to the show with our standard format, so we talk a little automotive news, and then we kind of run into look, this show's designed for all of us here. It's a hangout. We want to find other car guys in our niche, other creators like us, like minded, because this is going to be a good place to pick up subscribers, find other automotive channels. So, with that being said, we also like to talk about what, as small time YouTubers, what are the struggles we're going through as creators? What are the things that we are constantly having to tackle? And so sometimes we want to talk about struggles, and sometimes we want to talk about solutions to those struggles, tips and tricks. So Jason, I'll let you start. What is the topic you kind of want to talk about in your current journey?
Well, before I jump into that, Grant, I want to reach out to Snydertron 3000. Josh has joined us, and I wanted to we were going to do this a little bit later, but that was a perfect opportunity that he's in the chat to say a huge thank you to Josh for giving us a shout out on his channel, because I have had some serious gains, and we will talk about that later. I know Grant has as well, as far as subscriber base. So, Josh, thank you so much for taking the time out to give us a yo to all of your faithful subscribers. I really appreciate that. So as we talk about some of the struggles and growth tips and stuff like that, one thing that I find a little bit hard to manipulate is the audio levels. When I'm doing my actual vlogging or talking to the camera, it's no problem to jump from scene to scene and keep a even level on the audio. But when I go to like B-roll and with some music, even though with my headset on, during editing, it sounds like an even sound, like it's even level. Once it gets turned into an MP4 and ready for YouTube, the audio is always louder, too loud. So I've played around with that a little bit. I'm not sure if anybody else has this problem, but I do find that it's a little bit of a struggle for me, because you don't know until it's rendered that that's the case. So I don't know if you've had that issue or not. I know you don't do a lot of B-roll in your videos, but I just find that I do struggle with that. So if there's anybody out there that can help me with leveling out those audio, I'm more than happy to take a DM or a private message to get some tips on that as well.
Yeah, I've had that issue a couple times, but it doesn't seem to be consistent for me. And I suppose some of that, it winds up being part of what editing software you're using, how comfortable you know it. I have a love-hate relationship with my editing software. It's a Corel product. It's okay. I wish I would have bought something else when I bought that, though. Um, the topic I wanted to talk about, a struggle, tips, trick, whatever. It's really more of a conversation piece this week. Was I had to deal with a hater this past week, and as I reflect back on how I handled that, I try and kind of, I don't know that I did handle it right. And honestly, I think part of it was, yes, I was initially upset and I wanted like, I use social media as a platform to like vent just to get it off my chest. I really didn't care what anybody else thought about it. I didn't need anybody else to like cheer me up. I didn't need anybody else to like chime in other than like maybe see a bunch of like buttons or something. But I found out as I was getting more and more responses from people, it's like, oh, I blew this up into something more than I even cared to. Like, I initially, like I said, I just wanted to get it out there to feel better about myself and be done with it. But yeah, it just seemed like a bunch of people were kind of chiming in, like, "Oh man, this guy's a Nimrod," and all this. I was like, "Ah, yeah, yeah." So I guess I want to hear from you guys. Did I handle it right or did I not? So, Jason, you still there? We may have lost Jason because his thumbnail seems to be frozen. So I don't know if he has internet issues. But yeah, I had a hater basically, and the guy actually, like, I think if we sat down and had a dialogue, I think I know exactly what he meant. We probably could have had, I think this guy was actually right. So I had a review on my welder. It was the first kind of first reactions to plasma mode on my welder, and I also had just recently bought a new welding cart, so I spent a lot of time, like, even though the video is titled, and so this is like sort of a lesson for all of you guys. So if your video is titled "First Impressions of Plasma Mode on My Welder," and it took me like 7 minutes to get done talking about my welding cart before I ever talked about plasma mode, I think that's really actually what the guy meant. But he, of course, chose to do it in a way this is like, what a complete waste of time, stupid kind of response. And I was just like, dude. So what I did on social media is I basically said something to the point of, it was like, well, this is the type of person who I guess I'm glad I wasted their time because they obviously watched all the way through. And obviously, if you're going to be that trivial about things, like, come on, you know. So anyway, so that was kind of that situation, and we did. Jason has dropped off right now, so he must be having internet issues. So I'm gonna try to catch up in the chat a little bit on some commentary. Um, and just make sure I didn't miss anything. I did want to say, welcome to the show, Mr. Mach 1, Gary, Get It Garage, Junior Hum. Is it a hater? Well, I don't know if it was a hater or troll, but it was. I didn't respond to them on YouTube because I knew that would just create, a trickle down effect. That's why I took it over to Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, so yep, impact. You got it. That's kind of exactly what I'm saying. Oh, sweet. Jason's laptop just decided to restart. So I'll start. I'm going to work my way through the agenda. And guys, we can go a little bit later tonight because I derped up the old technology. We could probably give you an extra 5 minutes. My wife is actually visiting. We have a brand new niece. Her sister gave birth yesterday to a little baby girl. So my wife is going to go to the hospital to visit. So don't have to worry about me and my Valentine's Day plans. I'm just batching it up right now with my Pepsi rum. So after our YouTube struggles, tips and tricks, one of the things we like to talk about. Oh, and Harley Pebley is joined in the chat. He's always good to have. Jason, we have Jason back just in time as we were about to give channel updates to each of our channels. And for me, honestly, I don't have a whole lot to update since the since Sunday's upload. I did find new fuses for the Project Low Fairmont, and it was funny because the local O'Reilly's, I brought the glass fuse with me, and they only had 2 different sizes of 20 amp fuses, and the closest ones they had were like beyond just a little bit too big. Like, it was, you could definitely notice it's probably, I'd say, 3/16 of an inch longer, maybe 1/8 of an inch, but just enough to where you knew it wasn't. And I was like, man, are these going to fit or are they not? And I sat there for a long time saying, should I buy these or should I not? Of course, by the time I got home, they did not fit. So I had to return those. And the next day I went to an advanced auto parts store at a different location, and they had exactly what I needed. So I have fuses, and I can get the gauge pod done. I did rip off the aluminum trim pieces because I think I can make those look better than what you saw in the video. But Jason, your channel update since the last time, what do you want to share with us?
Let's try this again. I'm still in the middle of trying to get everything situated here. But yeah, as far as channel updates, today's video that went up around lunchtime local time today, you've seen where I started the wall art project. And so I got that thing sanded down and in primer. And I also did the next day afterwards, even though I recorded it, is I tried my hand at spray painting professional style, like with a gun and everything. I was pretty impressed with myself. And so that video will go up on Saturday morning. And I encourage you guys to tune into that and check out my my fantastic paint job. I'm telling you, seriously, you're not going to want to miss it.
Was it plum crazy? What color was it?
Oh, you'll have to tune in.
Okay, all right, yeah. Don't want to give away the. It's all part of the show. Well, we had a couple more people join in, and I did want to say, guys, we broke our record. We are at 24 people in here right now watching this show. So thank you. Help spread the word. Next week, it's going to be on Jason's channel. That is how this format of the show works. We bounce back every other week from one channel to the next. But we have You Can Do It Too. We have Car Mods Garage, Mr. Something Basic, and well, Not Your Dad's in the chat. So, guys, welcome. And next topic on the docket becomes, and Jason kind of teased this a little bit earlier, thanks to Snydertron 3000, we both saw tremendous growth from last week to this week. Thanks to him and his shout out, and thanks to this format. I spoke on this show last week saying I only went up 5 subscribers between episode 3 and 4, but between episode 4 and 5, last count, and I picked up like 3 right before we hit start broadcast tonight. I'm up to 873 subscribers, up from 839 last week. So that is a gain of 34 subscribers, and I think that's an all-time record here at Straight SixFan. So thank you, Snydertron. Jason, what kind of house money did you bring in?
Well, last week I did a really big gain as well, and I did top Grant, and I'm pretty sure it's probably because I'm Canadian, and that's why we did a little bit better. But we said we were going to do this, didn't we?
Yeah.
But anyways,
that was supposed to be episode 10.
Oh, well, sorry. Stay tuned. Anyways, yeah, so I had a pretty big gain as well, and I've been doing a lot of other live feeds, not just our own, but I've been kind of out there and putting myself out there, and I have gained a few subscribers there as well. So last week I was sitting at 580. As of right now, I'm at 632, and if you do the math, that's a 52 subscriber gain. And it's I want to throw that thanks again out to Josh as well as you guys, because if it wasn't for you guys, obviously we wouldn't be doing this show. But this show is not just to benefit Grant and I solely, it's to help you guys as well. And I'll encourage you right now again that go through everyone that's in the chat right now, check out their channel. I encourage you to subscribe to each other and support each other in this venture, because that truly is the community that we are trying to build with CarrGuy and SixFan and our YouTuber or subscriber hangout. So if you haven't done so already, guys, start checking out each other's channels. I encourage you to become part of this community.
Yeah, and tonight I feel like we're getting a good variety of connections, like way old for me, people from the go-karting community, people from the newer ones I've picked up. So this has been awesome. Of course, Sam's Garage just dropped in here, and Kip from America Bumper to Bumper as well is in here. So this has been a pretty awesome live stream. Again, we're holding still at 23 in. Guys, start thinking of your questions for Jason and I, because we do want to give you some time to throw some questions our way. But as we close out the regular scheduled portion of this show, we do want to talk about channel shout outs. And as I just finished explaining, we have a couple of people from the moped and go-kart community in here, and so that kind of segues great for me into my shout out of the week, which is Twisted R Racing. Stacy over there does a Friday night and a Sunday night live stream. He does tremendous work he's a racing lawnmower guy, trucker by day, racing mower guy by night. Actually, I don't think they race at night, but it sounded better when I said it that way. But he's been a huge support to me and to a lot of people in this chat. He has a thing, a little hashtag, Small Engine Nation, I believe is what it is. So great way to pick up subs over there. But that is a whole nother niche in of itself, the go-kart and moped scene. Jason, who do you want to give a shout out tonight?
Well, ever since I started YouTube, this follower is probably one of my longest and best supporters of my channel. And his name is Shane Reynolds. And Shane is on Instagram, and his Instagram handle is Winnipeg Car Life. And obviously he's from Winnipeg, Manitoba. And he's got a couple of cars that he features. He's just a small channel. And actually, I've been trying to encourage him to get back into making videos. So just last weekend, he did post a quick video letting us know that he's going to get back into the swing of things. So I want to give Shane and Winnipeg Car Life a shout out on this channel. So we will be putting those links in the description below after the live feed. So once that's done, you guys can go and check those channels out. And I encourage you to, again, subscribe to these guys, interact with them. Don't just subscribe for the sake of doing it, but subscribe, watch their videos, interact with these guys, and they will do the same back. Again, like I said before, that is what this channel is all about.
So, kind of looking back through the chat, I did want to say I thought I subscribed to Sam's Garage, but I don't. It must be a different Sam's Garage I'm subscribed to. But so far, not any questions that I see. But I do see some of you guys subbing each other, subbing back, and that's awesome. Get It Garage, you're gonna enjoy. Mr. Mach 1, you're gonna love Get It Garage. You guys know in both of your channels, I think you're gonna love it.
I did see a question up there from Craig. He was I guess I missed it as it was scrolling through. He did ask me if I was going to be doing any more live streams. So as far as this particular style with Grant, yes, we'll be doing this obviously every week, alternating channels. For my personal channel and doing a live stream, I find it very hard to do a live stream as a single operator, with a camera and just one guy, and still try and do work on projects. So I generally, if I do a live stream, I'll always have my wife or my son there with me to operate a camera. So if I'm doing a project and I want to be able to interact and work with my hands and do, the hands-on thing, then yeah, there may be a few of those. But I think if you go back through my live feeds in the past, I think I've only ever done 2 YouTube live streams on my channel. So I think once the better weather comes and I start actually getting into some hands-on work with my old car, then yes, I would like to do maybe a Friday night or a Saturday night live stream when the weather is good and it's still light outside and we can take advantage of the good weather. So yeah, that might happen.
Yeah, the one-man live stream is tough, as everybody's saying. If you didn't experience that even throughout this episode of the CarrGuy and SixFan show, we both kind of had to go solo there for a while. Technology getting the best of both Jason and I.
Yeah. And we got Doug Sweener in the house. Hey, Doug, thanks for jumping in there.
And like I said, I'm willing to give you guys an extra 4 or 5 minutes tonight. But we're down to 7 minutes left. Unless you guys don't have any questions, or Jason, do you have any other topics that have maybe came up in the middle of this live stream that you think might be relevant to everybody else?
I've just been keeping an eye on the chat, as well as like I said, I've been really trying to jump into a lot of live streams on a lot of different channels over this past week. So if you guys are subscribing to some of these folks that are in the chat, you'll know that some of these guys do live streams themselves. And it's a great place to go to jump in, to interact, and get to know who these people are and start building your own community. As I talked before, I don't want to keep beating this dead horse, but as you put yourself out there and and make sure that people know who you are. They're not going to know who you are if you just show up in the chat and watch. You got to be talking, you got to be asking questions, you got to be interacting, and that is part of this. So just like you guys are doing now with us, get out there, and I encourage you. That's my tip of the week, I guess, if you want to call it that, is to make sure that you're, getting out there and interacting. So I see a question there from Josh. Snydertron 3000 says, what are some of our goals for our YouTube channels? I've done a lot of talking, so Grant, you go ahead. I know you actually did a 2019 goal for yourself, so maybe you could talk about a few of those.
Yeah. If you guys want to kind of know, and I do have the goals I laid out. I have them in this book actually, and it wound up being I set 11 goals without really knowing it for the year, and so that's basically one a month, one off. And so like you saw if you watched my last video, my February goal was a new end screen, so I got that done last week. But yeah, there is a video. It's called Happy Tubes Year 2019. Where I lay a lot of that out. And one of the big things, I guess, while I have a captive audience that I'd like to talk about is one of those other goals is to do kind of a YouTuber subscriber meetup in person. And that's called Tube 66. And we are going to do a sort of mini hot rod power tour at the end of June. The last weekend in June. We'll start in Tulsa, Oklahoma about 5 o'clock. Do a quick run down the Route 66 towards Oklahoma City, and we got some stops planned out. Hit up Bricktown that night. It's a bar district there. It's kind of like a cheap version of the Riverwalk in San Antonio. And then the next day, get up and then drive out to Amarillo, Texas, eat at the Big Texan, stop off at Shamrock, Texas, where they filmed Gymkhana 10, kind of take some photos. And I just feel like it's going to be a kind of a fun time. It's just a 2-day quick trip, something you can do over a weekend. Nobody has to take any time off unless you work weekends. So those are some of the 2 big highlights out of my channel goals. We do have another question from Craig Durbin, which I want to get to. But Jason, do you have any goals you want to talk about?
Well, as all of you guys know, that my biggest goal coming into 2019 was to reach the 1,000 subscriber mark within my first year. And obviously that hasn't happened. January the 18th was when my 1 year on YouTube anniversary happened. And I kind of extended that to the 31st of January. And I was going to give away a big prize. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But that was kind of along the same time that Grant and I got together and started talking about doing this show. To help grow each other's channels. So obviously my goal for 2019 is very simple, it's very small, and it's very achievable, is to reach that 1,000 subscriber goal. If I can hit that within the next couple of months, which I think really is achievable, then I think, aiming for the next goal of 2,000, maybe by the end of 2019, probably isn't that unobtainable if we continue on the path that we're on. So I would say my goal for 2019 is 2,000 subs.
Nice. And I did want to just state, we did break a record tonight. We had 24 people watching at one time. Our previous best was 22. So that was awesome. We're getting close to the end. Jason, I'll let you close it out, but I did want to address Craig Durbin's question from a while ago. And he asked how Project Low Fairmont was coming in terms of a second 0 to 60 test after we did a tune-up. And honestly, my priority was always to get the radiator business in line, and then of course I want to get the gauge pod in. I'm pretty sure my radiator's fine and perfect, but I'd like some indication that I'm approaching overheating before seeing steam come out of the hood. So the gauge pod is the first priority, and then I do plan on trying to do another 0 to 60 after that. We set the timing a little better, and we kind of tuned the carb a little bit. So I do plan on doing one, but so we'll see. That's probably coming not all too far down the way. Jason, I'm going to throw it over to you, let you close out the episode. If there's any other question that came up in the meantime you want to address, I will let you do that. But the floor is all yours to kind of close this episode out.
I see Harley Pebley just jumped in there asking a mechanical question about his Jeep with the 4.6 V8, throwing random misfire codes. If you are in this neck of the woods, the biggest thing that causes random misfire codes is condensation or water in your fuel. I don't know how far north you are, Harley, but I would encourage you that if you're above the frost line in northern part of the U.S. or in the Midwest and you're getting lots of freezing temperatures, throw probably about 2 or 3 capsules of methyl hydrate in your gas tank and run a full tank of gas through it. Hopefully that'll burn out that water. That's as far as I can go without looking at the vehicle myself. But as Grant said, we're going to close this live stream off. We want to thank everybody who has shown up tonight, who has interacted with us and done exactly what we want to see out of this live stream. We're going to do it again next week. Next week it's going to be on my channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's how you're going to get onto this live stream and we will interact once again. So if you do follow me and you've been following me for a long time, you know how I end every video. And I want to encourage you guys to stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. I love you guys. God bless. We'll see you next week.